Perek Daled Mishna Yud Beis. Rabbi Elazar ben Shemua Omer, Yehi chvoid talmidcha chaviv alecha kishalach, v'chvoid chavercha k'moyer rabach, u'moyer rabach k'morei shamayim. The kavod of your talmidim should be so precious to you, it should be so chaviv and precious to you, like your own. And the kavod of your friend should be like the moyer, the fear of your Rebbe. And the fear of your Rebbe should be like moyer shamayim, like your fear of the heavens. The kavod of your talmidim should be precious to you like your own. The kavod of your friends is like k'moyer rabach. And the moyer, the fear of your Rebbe, is k'moyer shamayim. And Rabbeinu Yonah asks, why should somebody have more kavod than it's due to him? Why should one have more moira? Why should we give more moira and yira to somebody than is fitting for him? Why should the kavod of a Talmud be precious like your own? Why should the kavod of your friend like the moira of your Rebbe? It would seem he's not deserving as the same degree as your Rebbe. And your Rebbe, why should the moira be k'moyer shamayim, like the fear of heavens? Why should someone have more kavod or more yira than it is due to him, or even appropriate for him? Rabbeinu Yonah explains as follows: it's not that we have to give the same yira to the Rebbe as yira shamayim. The kavod of your friend, it should not be the same as the moyer of your Rebbe. Each one should give and be given what is appropriate for him. What is due to him, what is appropriate, what is fitting. But whatever it is that it's fitting for that person, under those circumstances, whatever it is that is due to him, you should be as careful as if you were doing something for your Rebbe. Or Moyer Shamayim. Of course, Moyer Shamayim is much, much greater. It's incomparable, the year that you're supposed to have. But the year that you have, the year Shamayim, the year that you have, K'moyer Shamayim, you're so makpid on, you're so careful on it, to do what's fitting, what's proper. That degree of Moira that you should have for your Rebbe, whatever is appropriate. But whatever is appropriate, you should have and be so makpid on that degree of yira for your Rebbe. Just like you are on the higher level of Moira, but that you are for Moira Shamayim, etc. But why is the lashon over Yehi chavoid talmidcha chaviv? Why not kaved talmidcha? Why is it Yehi? It should be. Perhaps there's another understanding, an additional understanding here as well. We know there's a famous Gemara in Kedusha that asks, Ad Heichan, to what extent does it go kibud av? To what extent do we have to be machabed our father? And the Gemara brings a maisa from Dama ben Nesina, who was a goy. The Chacham came to him. They were looking for precious stones for the ephod, for the beged, or the big dekayin and gadol, which required precious stones. So they came to him to purchase these precious stones, and they were willing to pay a fortune for them. They were willing to pay an absolute fortune for these precious stones. But they were lying under his father's head, and his father was sleeping, and he refused to wake up his father, and he was willing to forego the sale, which he did. Where it relates that the next year he was repaid, etc., with the paraduma. But that's how far it goes. Even to forego a fortune, not to wake up his father. And the Maral asks, why does the Gemara bring an example from a goy? If we want to learn how to be Makayim Mitzvahs, so the dogma of Kiyum Mitzvahs, the example we should find, it should be from a Yid. What's happened is that we look to a goy to instruct us in the proper manner of kiyum mitzvahs. The Maharal explains as follows. He says that when the goy is mekayim mitzvahs, it's not because he's commanded to. It's not because of the tzivui. It's because in his seichel, he understands that he should be mechabed his father. When we're mekayim the mitzvah, we're mekayim because it's a tzivui Hashem. But in addition, we have to be mekayim because we understand it. We internalize it, we appreciate it. It's something that intuitively we understand, makes sense, that we want to do it. So we bring an example from a goy that the kiyum of the mitzvah of kibbud av v'em should be to that great level, but it should also be something that it is internalized by us, understood by us intellectually. It's something that we're mekayim it because we understand the importance of the mitzvah. And perhaps we can add on to this, that it's not only in the olam hasichli, but it's on an emotional level as well. And the goy performs this mitzvah. The goy is mechabed his father because emotionally he's attached to his father. It's not because of its zivui Hashem. It's not because of a commandment. It's because Dovid ben Nesina is mechabed his father because emotionally he understands and he has a love for his father, an attachment to his father. So he's willing to forgo this huge amount of money not to disturb his father in the smallest way. We're mekayim the mitzvah because Hashem commanded us. But in the mitzvah kibbud av, and the mitzvah to be mechabed, we also do it and perform it as if it's coming naturally to us as well. It's emotionally, it's something that we feel, we understand intellectually, we feel emotionally, and we carry out naturally. So Loshen, perhaps the Tana uses this Loshen yihichvoid. It should be. That's the state of being. Right? It's something that when we have a Talmud, his kavod is precious to us. We give him his due kavod because he is like a son to us. We want to be mechabed him, and we have an emotional bond to him. Yihichvoid. It should be that way. And the kavod of your friend kemoyer rabach, because you want to be makpid on the kavod of your friend. It's important to you. You understand and appreciate it. And the moyer rabach kemoyer shemaim, because you know and understand that your Rebbe, you're living the words of the Torah that you live by. Your existence is dependent on your Rebbe to instruct you in Torah. That's the state of being, Yehi. I was Zaychab on a personal level to have a strong kesher with several Gedolei Yisrael. One of them was the Shevet HaLevi, Rav Ozner Zatzal. And he used to exhibit this midah. The kavod that he gave to a Talmud. I felt like it was as a father. You know, it's typical when someone is engaged in Tzorchei Tzibur that people encourage them to go further and stronger, etc., which of course he was mechazek all the time, but he used to, which was somewhat unusual, but he used to ask me from time to time in a very concerned, fatherly way. He used to ask me, is this not too much? Are you not undertaking too much? And in a very concerned, fatherly way, and said, don't exceed the limits. Don't go beyond the limits. Take care of yourself. The concern that he showed. Remember we had the 10th many years ago, the 10th anniversary at Dirshu. We had an asifa in the Yad Elio in the stadium in Yad Elio. And the next morning, the very first call I got early in the morning was from Rav Ozner. He called me personally to thank me and thank me for the Kiddush Hashem, for the Gevalige Kavod Shem Shemayim and Kiddush Hashem. The Gadol Ador is making a personal call, making sure to make a personal call early in the morning. Several years ago, quite a number of years ago, Rav Aaron Leib Steinman Zatzal, Gadol Ador, came to Toronto. He made, some of you may remember, he made several trips around the world to be mechazik communities around the world. He made a trip to Toronto as well. And they had a big asifa in the city. They had a big asifa where everyone gathered together. And I was invited to be one of the speakers at that asifa. But it turned out so be that it was the same night as we're making Sheva brachas for my son, Harav Zev, Shlita. So I said I have to decline the offer to speak because I'm making Sheva brachas for my son. So they insisted that no, try to work it out and try to come, but I didn't want to be chas v'sholem in the simcha in any way, and I said I have to decline. I can't come to speak. So Rav Aaron Leib Steiner, the Gadol Ador, who was in an advanced age at the time, said, "Fine. On the way to the Sifa, I'll come to the Sheva brachas and come to you to the Sheva brachas." And of course, I wouldn't hear of it to be matriach. The Gadol Ador to make a trip to come out and to come to the Sheva brachas. Of course, I impressed upon them that it was totally unnecessary and they appreciated, etc., but not to be matriach the Gadol Ador. To the extent that Gedolim went to be mechabed out of the way with tircha in the most exemplary way. Gedolei Yisrael, mi kamcha Yisrael. Yichvoid talmidcha chaviv alok yishalach, yichvoid chavercha kemoy rabach, amoy rabach kemoy risham.